Hello, my name is Sukrit and I'm from group 5 of this applications of AI class. My group mates are Kanishka, Shravana and Palela. So what we have done is we have built a data analyst agent. So as we all know, coming from our analytics coursework, that we do a lot of data analysis, and what this agent tries to do is to eliminate all the coding portion so that you can give your natural language inputs to the to this particular agent, which is basically an LLM that uses multiple tools that we have coded into it, and so it does not use input tokens into sending the data to a GPT or Claude or whatever, and uses those tools to basically perform the query that we are asking it to. So that's the core idea of this agent. This is still, I would say, at best an MVP, minimum viable product, but this is what we have built. Again, reiterating, we have built a tool augmented data analyst agent for structured CSV only. So we are not inputting, Word documents or a PDF in a tabular fashion. We have not built that level of coding where it is able to extract the data from a PDF in a tabular table stored inside a PDF, extracting that and converting it into a data frame. But yes, that can be done. And since this is a free version and we are using student accounts to get access to free API calls and other stuff, so we are trying to make sure that our data set doesn't cross 1000 rows. All right, again, coming back to LLMs, we are using Gemini LLMs, so, and not pros, because those are not for free. Since they are reasoning models, we are using to Flash or Flashlight. Both are the lower versions of those models, and they help with faster query processing. So what we are trying to solve is, previously we used to get a data set, used to load it in a pandas data frame, and then business users used to know how to do Python coding and to extract, do any analysis from simple and inspection, or to just look at the first few rows. So what this agent provides you is the ability that you don't have to know that particular coding. You can ask the agent, just upload your files or place your files in the correct folder, like our agent is built on, and this agent will access that file. It can inspect the schema, data types, and what information is stored there. No unified solution effectively combines LLM reasoning with reliable data-driven computation. So what does this particular point means is that you give an LLM a data set, it could hallucinate since it is doing all of it based on its memory consumption, whereas what an agent does is it utilizes those tools that we have provided to it. So again, we'll talk about those tools next, or after that. So firstly, about the system architecture, how the process happens. So a user, you or me, enters our inputs our data, and then inspect the data set. Then LLM, that input is sent to an LLM. LLM sees that natural language, understands it, what its intent is, and then decides, oh, which tool I need to select. That is the third step, tool selection through an LLM. Once that tool is selected, then the tool is executed over that particular input query or input data set, and then there's an output presented. So as a data analyst, you need, I don't know, hundreds of tools, but what we have built is very small. That's why I called it an MVP at the beginning, that we have only these particular tools available right now. Schema inspector, what it does, it detects column data types and missing values. Then EDA toolkit generates summary statistics, correlation metrics, and distribution analysis. So it's very small, but yeah, it could do minimum work for you in inspecting data types, or do you need to convert what are the column names, are they uppercase, lowercase, and the kinds of small ETA performances. Then we have given visualization tool, where we have given this agent access to 3 kinds of visualizations. I think bar chart, histograms, and scatter plots. Those are the 3 visualizations we have provided. Similarly, if you want more, we need to code more here and to give access to agent for different kinds of charts. Then there's ML toolkit. This was just a very basic thing that we wanted to provide that agent to have, like just to show that will you be able to do a linear regression or a random forest for classification. Just we provided access to, I think, only 2 kinds of ML based tools, because we wanted to show that regression can also happen, and classification can also happen in this through this agent. Coming back to tech stack, what have we used? As I talked about Google Gemini, we are using Flash and Flashlight models for understanding, reasoning, and response generation. And as an orchestrator, Google ADK, this is where through where the agent is launched, and it gets access to all the tools. And as a NumPy, that is for data loading, cleaning, transformation, and how we basically create a data frame and do the schema inspection and simple ETS. SAIKTlearn is a machine learning library that uses regression and classification, from where you can call random forest and linear regression that we are using. Matplotlib is for the plots that we have given access to, and this is all done on Python 3.14 programming language. Then coming to a little demo, since I'm recording on this PowerPoint, I will show the screenshots mostly. If we ask user, if we even say hello, and there is a data set present on that particular location, which is basically used as a default location, it automatically starts inspecting the data set. It says, hello, I'm your data analyst agent. I have loaded the NBA salary.csv dataset, which I have given access to, which contains information about NBA players, their teams, and their this and that salaries basically. So it tells you about the total number of rows and how many columns are there. Then it tells about the column, 3 columns that are present there. And it basically asks, next it asks, how can I help you analyze this particular data? Just to, for this presentation purpose, I'm showing a simple question that I asked: can you generate a histogram salary? This was not a very good question to ask fairly, because this particular CSV doesn't have a very predefined information. So we asked how many players are present in how many salary levels. So I think and I didn't tell the agent to say that the salaries are in millions or whatever. So it basically says, oh, more than 200 players have a salary of less than $1 million, whereas it keeps on telling you what's the number between each frequency distribution. That was the basic query we asked the agent. Agent did its job. It was on us to provide more information to the agent, basically. Then I wanted to show how this agent orchestration works. I've already talked about it, but I just wanted to show it as well. When we ask something, this data analyst agent has access to all these tools that you see on this right side, and then the LLM decides which tool to access for which question. So as you ask any basic LLM the question, it understands that firstly. So it also understands the input query and then decides, oh, which tool I need to access to get this answer. That's what we talked about in the beginning. What are the challenges and learnings that we got? I think challenges is agents is still a fairly new technology that is being implemented. It's being implemented very in a very fast-paced manner, but yeah, still there are questions, doubts, and what's the appropriate use to use them. So that was one of the things. In Google ADK is still a bit challenging and a new framework. Then at the back end, you need to integrate a lot of tools in a proper manner that the agent can access it and understand it and perform the input query on that particular tool. Then, since it's a group project, it becomes a little difficult how everyone codes in a different manner, and we did it on a pure GitHub or Bitbucket type of fashion. So yeah, it became difficult to have integrated in all our different setups. The basic challenge was I was using 3.14, someone was using 3.12 Python version. That creates a little problem. And the compatibility becomes a problem, so you need to make sure that everything is compatible with each other. Key learnings built. This was a very fantastic project, as we got to learn a lot of things and new technologies such as AI agents on Google ADKs, different LLM information, how much you can share on it or what's allowed, and then you learn how. Then we learned how to write code in a modular reusable Python components for collaborative development, and then how we integrate machine learning models in a conversational AI workflow. That's a basic job of a very starting data analyst. Then I want to talk about the future scope, since these things are built over a large period of time, not just through 5 or 6 weeks of coursework, but yeah. So what you could do is, if you could build much more tools on this Google ADK. And then the second point I wrote, it scale to handle larger data set. The problem is then you need to use different things like BigQuery, and those would come with a certain cost. And as a free user, I didn't want to incur any cost on this project. Then you could similarly build in advanced ML models such as neural networks or XGBoost, or you could incorporate other libraries as well, such as calling BERT models for different natural language processing and other stuff. And then multi-data support, as I talked about in the beginning, like converting PDFs or Word tables into a data frame and then accessing them, and then actually deploying this as a service, which is a bigger task. As we learned in our module 5 about deploying a microservice, so I used Railway that time. Similarly, we could use some different service. Thank you. That's it.